invited here tonight to give a talk on cannabis. Although excited for the opportunity, I began to realize how vulnerable this could make me. The current cannabis climate is one of vast gray area, a space where industry has rapidly outpaced regulation, leaving operators at odds and, quite frankly, confused with entities like the DEA and the FDA. More importantly, consumers and healthcare providers are left to base their decisions surrounding cannabis on morals rather than science. Considering all of that, it's no wonder folks are reluctant to tell the truth about cannabis. What if we lived in a world where we didn't have to hide what we know? No fear, no stigma surrounding the subject. This is a talk about such a world. It was December of 2016 when I self-diagnosed what I felt to be postpartum anxiety. As a mother to 2 children under 2, I brushed these troubles off, feeling like every mom goes through this. Not being able to quiet my mind enough to fall asleep at night, I just figured, I'm a working mom, busy mind, right? Wrong. Turns out, these feelings of anxiety, little to no appetite, trouble sleeping, and even pain were all warning signs that a much bigger problem was going on. I needed to see a doctor. Maybe they'd recommend a vacation, a yoga class, or maybe pharmaceuticals. I couldn't stop thinking about that last one. What about side effects? I want to keep breastfeeding. What if I want to have another child? I sat in a waiting room with anticipation. The doctor will see you now. Says here, you're having trouble sleeping at night. You have a knot in your stomach most of the day, have a loss of appetite, and you're starting to feel pain that you can't attribute to any injury. That's correct. Says here, Mrs. Reynolds, that you've had 2 pregnancies in the last 2 years? Yes. Is your baby waking you up to breastfeed at night? Oh yeah. Well, then your adrenaline must be pumping at all hours of the night to get you to your baby quickly as to not wake up your older child, am I right? That's exactly right. Mrs. Reynolds, do you drink alcohol? Yes. Do you exercise? Not enough. Well, Mrs. Reynolds, I'm led to believe that you're experiencing a dysregulation in your endocannabinoid system. Endocannabinoid, what? Kind of sounds like the doctor here is saying something illegal. In short, Mrs. Reynolds, the endocannabinoid system is one of our body's natural regulatory systems. It's responsible for creating and sustaining balance. Due to hormone shifts after 2 pregnancies, your increased physical and mental demand, alcohol consumption, lack of exercise, I'm led to believe that your ECS isn't working properly. There are, however, a few ways that you can support your ECS. One is to supplement the endogenous cannabinoids which would be circulating in your body if your ECS was working properly. Endogenous cannabinoids. There's that word again. Yes, Mrs. Reynolds, our bodies have cannabinoid receptors spread throughout, and we naturally produce cannabinoids for them to receive. When, for whatever reason, we aren't generating sufficient enough endocannabinoids, we can regain balance by supplementing with phytocannabinoids found in cannabis. Cannabis? Cannabis? Cannabis. When phytocannabinoids are introduced to the receptors from external sources like cannabis, the receptors activate and produce a physiological change, which can alleviate symptoms such as anxiety, pain, insomnia. When a cannabinoid connects with a cannabinoid receptor, the message of regulation begins to resonate throughout the cell, and eventually reaches out to adjacent cells and organs. Phytocannabinoids help to reestablish homeostasis, which has been disrupted by a lack of endocannabinoid caused by genetic or lifestyle factors. Since cannabinoid receptors influence so many different elements of our nervous system and our immune system, and because of genetic variation from person to person, it is nearly impossible to truly predict what an individual will have for a response without self-experimentation. I encourage you to experiment. Cannabis is now widely available in several modalities, formulations, and strengths. I also recommend you keep a journal so you can document how many milligrams you've taken and how long it takes for you to feel pain-free, more relaxed, and focused. Wow, doctor, all that fear around cannabis for nothing. Now let's face it, those types of conversations are not happening. But why? Sure, we can blame the pharmaceutical lobby, but we can also blame ourselves. How many of you disclose your cannabis use to your doctor? Your dentist? How about your chiropractor? Massage therapist? Okay, how many of those healthcare providers ask you about your cannabis consumption? I've been a dental hygienist for almost 15 years, and I can tell you I've never seen it on a health history questionnaire before. There is groundbreaking clinical cannabis research being conducted right now, but almost all of it is considered anecdotal because of the current regulatory laws. Some folks, brave enough to try cannabis, are living pain-free, anxiety-free, and even seizure-free lives. If we lived in a world free of fear and stigma around cannabis, we'd allow ourselves to self-heal first. Maybe not even use pharmaceuticals at all. I ask you to embrace your inner can of curiosity. Start a conversation with your healthcare provider and get educated. Ask about access. Ask why cannabis isn't widely offered in the realm of treatment. Urge them to know more. Your health and your happiness can start today and can start with cannabis. Thank you.